What's up, everybody? It is your girl Jennifer Watson here, and chances are you are watching this video because you purchased one of my booklets, either Money, Love, Protection, that gives you different herbs, a comprehensive list of herbs to use, as well as different recipes, and pretty much, making that magical thing happen. So I'm going to give you 10, and a bonus tip on what to do with your oils after you have made them. So tip number 1 is I like to get myself in the mood when I'm making oils. So like if I'm making a money oil, I'm definitely going to play a song that speaks to that energy, and I'm going to really start feeling that song while I'm making my product. I like to dance and have fun, really observant of my own energy as I'm making it. Step number 2, you can actually let your oils listen to the songs that match that oil's intent. So if you're making some kind of love oil, definitely find a love song that you can stand listening to over and over. You can actually let it sit there as short of a time as you like, or your oil can sit there all day. I can tell you this, I made one oil and I actually had it playing for hours and busted my computer speakers. I'll tell you, that's some real strong oil though. All right, so step number step number 3 is about to come up here in a second, and this really speaks to making sure that you understand that you are your most valuable tool. Okay, whatever energy, whatever vibration you are feeling, that is what is most important when you are creating your oils. So if you want to go and make some kind of love oil, for example, but you're in a really bad mood, then my strong suggestion is that don't even touch any ingredient that goes into that oil until you can get yourself balanced and also getting yourself in a mood that really radiates that loving energy, because everything that we do, say, feel, think, all goes into that oil. And so you have to remember where you are in order to make sure you can make a really good product that is going to work for you and anybody else that might be using it. Step number 4 is tip number 4, you can use the sunlight. So like when I'm making some kind of manifestation oil, I like to let it charge out in the sunlight, especially if it's a nice, good feeling day where it's not like overly hot or really on the flip side, overly cold. I like to make sure that that oil really sits out there and absorb all of the sun rays, because that kind of represents the energy when you're manifesting. You're feeling good, everything's bright, everything's joyful. So this is a good tip, like I said, for when you're using or making any kind of manifestation oils. You could also use this for like the money oils, just about anything where you want that bright, glowing energy to. All right, so tip number 5. On the flip side of using the sun, you can also use the moonlight. Now, there are 3 different phases to the moon, and I forgot to add one on here, but the first one is the waning moon. That's from full to new. So when the moon is full and it's getting smaller. And then you have the waxing moon, and that's when the moon is from new to where it's getting bigger. It's growing into the full moon. And then one other moonlight phase that I want to add in here is the dark of the moon. And this is actually also known as the new moon, right? So this is where you see no moon at all. So anytime you're wanting something to grow, you're definitely going to want to do it during the waxing. If you're making something that you want to take away, you're wanting. And dark of the moon is any work where you really just are kind of doing some darker energy things there. Tip number 6 is that you can use a candle. You want to use, or you can use a candle color that matches the oil's intent. So like, for example, if you're making a healing oil, you could use a blue candle. If you're making a money oil, you can use a green candle, you could use a yellow one, and some other colors there. You can either use a tea light candle and place it on top of your oil, or you could just have it sitting beside like a 7-day jar candle and allowing that candle to continuously burn right beside the oil. You can even go as far as getting specific candles, like specific love candles that are already pre-charged. The ways are endless. Tip number 7, if you can sit and meditate with it in your hands, I say for at least an hour, then you're doing some really good work here. Meditating, making sure that, and I guess essentially adding that Reiki energy from your hands into that oil, making sure that it's absorbing all of what your intent is for that oil. Okay, now I'm not saying that you have to sit there for an hour. That's just my suggestion. But if you sit there 5 minutes, I mean, you're doing better than not doing anything at all, right? So 5 minutes is good just as much as an hour. But the longer that you do it, the more concentrated the energy will be within that oil. Tip number 8. So you can ask help from your deity. So like, for example, if you have a particular spirit guide that you work with, or if you have like an Orisha that you're working with, or a Madama, or an ancestor, any particular spirit that you may be working with, you can ask for their help, right? So you can call upon them and ask them to make sure that this oil does exactly what it is that you want to do. And sometimes, you can put your energy into it, but sometimes it does need an extra boost from the spirit realm, right? So that could be fun. All right, so we're going to flow right into tip number 9. And you can do a ritual. This is something that's actually very personal. And it's something that, you can decide to do, whether it's, if you have, like, for example, a certain thing that you do at the beginning of the month, or a certain ritual that you do, during a new moon or something. Whatever is very personal to you and it feels good to do, which is very key here, and it feels really good to do, then by all means do it. There's no right or wrong way here. And there's no right or wrong way here with any of these tips, actually. So do what calls. Do what calls to you. All right, so we are going into tip number 10. And this is keep it near the objective, right? So, for example, if you are making some kind of sex oil, then if by some chance you are involved in that activity, or if someone else is and they don't mind you just setting your oil right there and be like, hey, can my oil listen to you get it? Trust me, it's going to absorb that energy, right? So if you're making some kind of oil where you're arguing and you want to make someone argue, then if you find yourself in that place, then make sure that that oil is getting that very genuine energy absorbed into it. All right, and I have a bonus tip for you, and this is one of the most important ones actually, is let your oil sit. Okay, so I like to let my oil sit. It varies per oil, but you can let it sit at minimum. I would suggest at minimum for 2 to 3 weeks. That's minimum. But if you're just like, oh no, I don't want to wait for that long, especially if you're using dry herbs, then try to use essential oils and really kind of shake that oil up every day, making sure all of the ingredients are getting blended in, and boom, there you go. So thank you all for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, and I will see you all another time, day, night, whenever. I love each and every one of you all. Be blessed.